I made a video earlier talking about how people commonly say that 70 to 90% of weapons originate from the US that are seized by Mexican authorities from the cartels. Now, that percentage typically comes from an ATF report. The breakdown was that 140,000 of the guns seized, of the 140,000 of the guns seized, 30 to 35,000 were sent to the ATF for tracing. Of those 30 to 35,000, there was 20 to 25,000 that originated and tracked by the ATF that were originated from the United States. So normally people would take, because it's 35,000, say, assuming it's at most 35,000. Also, why is there such a big margin, right? 30 to 35,000 guns you send to the ATF. You should be able to give me an exact number if you're sending weapons to a different country. It's suspicious to me that we don't have an exact number. Regardless, 30 to 35,000 guns were sent to the ATF for tracing, and 20 to 25,000 were traced to the US. So out of 140,000 guns, 25,000 were said to have originated in the United States. Now, people think that they took a random sample group of guns and they just sent it to the ATF. You understand that when you have this thought process, oh, look, the Discord is on the chat on Twitch. So if you guys are on here, hop on a Twitch. Links in my bio. Yeah. So if you have 140,000 guns and only 25,000 originate from the United States, that's like 18 to 20%, right? If Mexico really, really wanted to stop drugs from entering, or guns from entering into their country, they would cooperate with our border patrol. They would cooperate with a new border plan. They do what we do, right? They check everybody to a T when they come into their country. Instead, what they're doing is they're fighting any type of, oh, look, we're having people show up to Discord. They're fighting any type of help at the border. They're fighting any type of help from cartels or from the US against the cartels. So it's a percent of a percent. Yeah. So it ends up being 19 to 20% in total out of 140,000 guns. Now, people think this is where the ADHD comes in. So people were in my comment section talking about how no, it was a random sample group that they sent. Therefore, it's only, if it's 35 out of, if it's 25 out of 35,000, that would make it 90%, 70 to 90%. But that's not how that works. It wasn't a random sample group that they sent to the US, right? Like Mexico has their own technology. They're not idiots. Most people's assumptions stem from assuming that Mexico is this antiquated country that has absolutely no technology. They send the guns that they assume are going to originate from the United States, whether it's because they have the specific serial numbers, there are specific guns, like the makes and models of guns that we sell in the United States, like Glocks that are more common, so that's what they send over. The cartels have been manufacturing their own guns since, I think the first mention that I saw of it online was in 2011. And keep in mind that Mexico doesn't have free journalism the way that we have, right? If you can't speak out, if you're in Mexico, you can't speak out against corruptions. You can't speak out against and tell people what you saw because you know what the consequences are.